Hi, I'm Matt, here in Michigan.
And I'm Randall here in Texas. Today, Matt and I are going on an adventure with you guys. We're going to be reviewing the new Disney movie, Jungle Cruise. It is now out in theaters, but it is also streaming on Disney Plus Premier Access. It stars Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt, Edgar Ramirez, Jack Whitehall, and Jesse Plemons. It is directed by Wame Kalek-Serra, who is also known for House of Wax, Orphan, Run All Night, and will be directing the upcoming Black Adam. But before we get too far into this review, make sure if you like this sort of thing, you give this video a like. Those likes are super helpful. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be notified, ring the little bell icon.
Now, in this movie, the cast of The Mummy is trying to find the Holy Grail before the Nazis do. Plus, there's a group of pirates trying to get a shiny thing from them so they can break the curse. I'm just kidding. I'm actually describing 3 other movies, but I would say the synopsis of this movie is pretty close to that.
It's accurate. It's accurate.
Now, Jungle Cruise is based on a Disney theme park attraction. It takes place during World War I, and the actual synopsis, a doctor and her brother travel to South America in search of the secret location of a magical plant that could lead to breakthrough medicine. They hire a riverboat skipper to help them find it before a German prince gets the plant for himself and his empire. Now, Jungle Cruise had a $200 million budget. So far, it has received average to above average reviews from critics, but is well liked by audiences. Alright, Randall, I'll give you the first go of this movie that felt like 3 different movies. What'd you think of Jungle Cruise?
I got through this movie and I thought, and sent this to some of my coworker friends who are big Disney fans. I said, don't worry, I will never again have to watch The Mummy, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Raiders of the Lost Ark as separate films ever again. I can just watch them all by watching Jungle Cruise. And as accurate as that is and as accurate as that feels, I also still want to say it is an action-adventure film, which is just, chiefly made to be entertaining. As long as you're entertained, that's kind of the point of the film. So for the most part, even though there were some groan-worthy moments in the film, I'm like, I'm entertained. It's not great, but I'm entertained. What about you?
I'm right there with you. I thought I had fun watching this movie. And yeah, like I said, I don't think it's trying to hide that it's making references to these other, well-known adventure films. It's an adventure movie, and heck, we even have some scenes I think are almost taken right from these other ones, like kind of like The Mummy we mentioned, at the beginning. We have Emily Blunt. She's on like the ladder and stuff, and it's very familiar from The Mummy when she's there on like the ladder trying to tear on. Like there's some that they almost like a direct reference to scenes from these other movies, but it's still enjoyable. I mean, heck, you can't talk about this movie without talking about the dad jokes, Randall. What'd you think about the dad jokes?
Okay, so the dad jokes are one of the few things that are actually pulled from the Jungle Cruise ride.
The rocks you see here in the river are sandstone, but some people just take them for granted.
Pretty much all of those are straight from the ride. So if you have been on the Disney attraction, then you're going to be like, oh, are the dad jokes there? Is there, one of my coworkers asked me, hey, is there a reference about Back of Water? And I was like, yeah, there's a reference about Back of Water. He goes, well, then I'll go watch the movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. The backside of water. Steve's wonder of the world.
So, it's got a lot of the little inside stuff where if you are a fan of the attraction, it will make sense to you. But obviously, the greater story is nothing like the attraction that you see in Disney. I love the dad jokes, in all honesty. But for me, there is a scene kind of like halfway through the film where it's just like all adult jokes between Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt's characters. And I was just breaking down like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You're going to do it with one hand? You're going to need 2 hands. I'm like, oh my God, this is a kid's film and it's so obvious,
Mm-hmm. I think one of those things that's good about this movie is I think it will appeal to wide range audience or age wise. I think younger kids are going to get some things they're going to pick out on it, and then adults are going to pick up on other things that, are going to go right over kids' heads or whatever. Though, I don't know if I'd call it scary, but there are some parts I don't know if I would take, like, real little kids. Some, like, jump at you, gotcha stuff.
If I were looking at this as a parent who was taking a kid to the movie, I'd be thinking, well, Pirates of the Caribbean wasn't exactly kid appropriate. And this is like a live action Disney movie based on a Disney attraction. Am I going to take my kids to this? But if you're going to compare these two, even though we said they obviously steal from Pirates and a lot of things, this one is way more kid friendly than Pirates of the Caribbean was. It's got a lot in there that's action adventure for kids and a lot of fun stuff for adults too. It kind of hits that, I guess, threads the needle there, kind of like Shrek does. A whole bunch of adult themes and jokes and stuff, but it's all so much over the kids' heads that it's funny to watch for parents too.
And I think part of the reason it's so funny and it's enjoyable is because I think the actors do a good job. I mean, Emily Blunt for me, I think does like probably the best. Dwayne Johnson does a good enough job and stuff too, and he's the one that really brings out the dad joke stuff. But man, I really like Jesse Plemons in this. He fully embraced this crazy bad guy, whatever you want to say. Like, if you're an actor that's just like, I'm getting paid and, I'm just doing this, I don't know that character would work. But Jesse Plemons, like, fully commits to it and makes it, a fun character.
When you're playing a character like Jesse had to play in this that is just, like, full of camp, you gotta go all camp, or else it just doesn't come across right, basically.
Illusion!
It's like imagining, Bruce Campbell doing The Evil Dead, but not wink, wink, nudge, nudge doing the camp of The Evil Dead.
That's right. Who's laughing now?
You have to understand it. And Jesse Plemons was a joy to watch in this. Although for me, he's still going to be that random seaman from Battleship forever, basically, because that's like where I really first saw him. He's such a versatile actor, though.
Dude, that's better than me. Me, I always remember him from Breaking Bad kind of thing, sadly. Now, if there's one part of this movie that I'd say was kind of like a disappointment for me, and yes, I know, Matt and Randall back on the soapbox talking about practical effects versus CGI. So, the CGI in this film, I don't think is bad. It's pretty good. Like, people put a lot of work into it. But I think in a lot of scenes, there's so much CGI going on. Like, there's so much to, like, look at that for me, it kind of took me out of the scene. And a lot of, like, the CG elements that we have in it are kind of like that Pirates of the Caribbean feel where we have our conquistadors in this one as opposed to like pirates and Pirates of the Caribbean. Those I think went a little bit too much and kind of took me out a little bit of the movie, but for the most part, I mean, I thought it looked okay.
It did, but yes, I agree. The CGI stuff is textbook. Your CGI artists were too concerned with whether or not they could. They didn't stop to think if they should.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
There's a fine line to be threaded and so many big budget movies nowadays, they just, CGI has gotten to the point where it's good enough and cheap enough that it's just do it that way. It's not cost effective to do it with practical effects, but good practical effects just, they hold up better over time. And I wish this had more of it, because Pirates holds up very well, not just because it's a pretty good story and well acted, but it does a really good job of finding that middle ground between too much CGI and a good amount of practical effects. Jungle Cruise definitely could have used some more of that. It's a little distracting, but it's not going to be the be all and end all, oh my god, I'm done with this film because it's all CGI. But, I felt that too for sure.
I think the practical scenes that we do get were good. I mean, this isn't spoilers. This is everything we've seen in like the trailers of the fight scene where Emily Blunt, punches Dwayne Johnson on accident kind of thing. And then she's on like the rope, sliding down and, while she's covered with a sheet and hitting the things at the end. I mean, you see all that in the trailers and that kind of stuff, that practical effect stuff I thought was pretty enjoyable.
So for the most part, summing up my feelings on the film, it's pretty enjoyable. I would definitely say you probably get a little bit more seeing in theaters than you would if you were on, Premiere Access. It's something that if you just do not want to go to the theaters, you could still definitely enjoy this as a family in your living room. I would say give it a look-see if you're looking for something entertaining, action adventure-y, especially if you're a fan of The Mummy, because that's its greatest theft, is stealing from The Mummy.
Yeah, I did enjoy this movie. This is fun. Like Randall said, it's not a great movie, and I don't know that it's... I mean, I'd say it's definitely not as good as the movies that it's, homaging or derivative of, or however you want to say, but it's still fun and enjoyable watch, a good addition. So yeah, I would recommend you guys go see it if you haven't seen yet. If you guys have seen Jungle Cruise, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it and what you thought about our review. Also, be sure to check out some of our other reviews. We have new movie reviews, flashback movie reviews, TV shows, and Randall and I also go into deeper dive discussions.
We also have a Facebook page. Make sure to go check us out over there if you have not. We always post on Facebook the day before what we're going to be posting next on YouTube. Of course, if you do not want to go like us over on Facebook, or you don't have a Facebook, you can always just put us on your calendar. We post new videos every Monday and Thursday. For now, I'm Randall here in Texas. I'll see everyone next time.
And I'm Matt here in Michigan. Have a good day, everyone. Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.